everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Yes, welcome to our show. Welcome to Garrison House. I'm Darnell.
And I'm
And
Angela.
again, this is
Garrison
Garrison House.
House.
Did that out of order. Well, hey.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And I hope everyone enjoyed their Christmas. So we are still got our Christmas decorations up because, of course, we're going into finally the final week of the Christmas season or the holiday season.
Yes, it's the holiday season.
So we just
actually, it's
hopefully-
Hanukkah now.
Is it?
Mhm.
Where's the graphics there?
Well, I'm going to put that up.
There we go. We got to have our welcome and greeting. We got to let the people know what we're doing.
Yes. We have some great topics today.
Yes.
So we are going to give them to you because I like the fact that we're here on Kashmir because we can have fun and we can speak our mind.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna do it one by one anyway, they can let's I guess we could tell them ahead of time.
We can tell them a little bit. We can tell them about we're going to talk about brand reputations, pseudo-strikes, celebrities, government overreach, especially in Michigan. Oh my goodness, don't get me started with that.
Government overreach.
2 movie reviews, which are actually pretty good, 2 good movies, and we'll leave that as a tease. So we're going to end with the movie review. So stick and stay because we don't want you to go away.
Right.
So, but yes, we had a great Christmas. I surprised her with the gift that I was like, oh, let me see. It was one of those things at night where hey, I get the shopping done. I said, now don't go peeking on the Amazon cart. And
you better be glad I didn't buy it for myself.
she had, after I bought it, she said, I've been looking at that forever.
Yes.
And I unknowingly, I was, one thing, I'm just sitting in bed like, okay, Lord, what should I get her? Oh, okay, she's into Asian cooking. Okay, Asian cookbooks. Boom, the first book popped up and said, oh man, that's great. Then Amazon said, hey, you may want to also add this item. I said, you know what? Yeah, it don't make sense to have an Asian cookbook without a wok. If you're gonna do Chinese, homemade Chinese food, you have to have a wok. We've discovered Asian grocery store marketplace that we used to go to one out in Pittsfield, the Ann Arbor area, and that one was. I was thinking about this yesterday when we went there. I went, man, the one in the Ann Arbor area does not have nearly this much customer base. That store we went to yesterday was crowded.
Yes.
And it's multicultural people there. And so I made a couple purchases. We'll talk about them later. I'm not going to put them on the screen, but I'll tell you what I said I'm going to try. They had, what did I buy? Oh, I bought some sardines. And they're canned sardines, and they're in tomato sauce, and the other one was in tomato sauce with chili. So I'm gonna try that. We'll bring that up. And then I was looking at some of the products they had. So, but we'll talk about that next week because this is the 5th Sunday, and so we have more.
Sunday?
Yes, it is. So we can build up our thing because she has some dishes. We can probably talk about that. Some of the things she's been cooking because she has a lot of content of some of the stuff she's been cooking because she has been doing Korean style food. She has this Korean barbecue sauce she found recipe. To say I love it. I mean, I was like, hey, we had for the Lions game on that was that Christmas or Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving. Was it Thanksgiving?
No, I think it was
that Sunday.
It was that Sunday before
Christmas. And so we went to Kroger. No, it was the Sunday before Christmas. We went to Kroger and we bought some chicken wings there because I was going to make them myself. She said, it'll just be easier just to buy them already made, which it was. And she made the sauce because I was going to make it, bake it up, and then she was going to make the sauce. It was so it was so good. And I'm laughing at her because she's about to anyway, it was so good.
Yes.
Even the next day, we had some what left because we're empty nesters. We're not used to this cooking for 2. We've been cooking for 3 for so long. So we were like, wait a minute. Oh, it's just the 2 of us.
My daughter don't like chicken. I mean, it's not like she's
meat. I don't know.
She's not like a vegetarian or anything. She just don't like chicken.
I guess she got tired of eating chicken.
Well, so many times you flip a bird.
I mean, look, I've come up with a whole lot of different ways to make a bird. Chicken spaghetti, chicken Alfredo, chicken and
that's what happened with Christmas when we decided I cooked, and we still got ham.
I just had a ham sandwich.
I mean, we still, and I had to put almost half the ham that we did in the freezer and left the left the others. And
It's almost that other ham needs to go in the freezer too.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like we need to put that in the freezer.
I was gonna make a ham potato soup.
It was really good to have but it's nothing wrong with having leftovers. I know that's another topic we need to talk about. Eating leftovers. There are people who literally do not like leftovers.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, I'm a leftover fan.
Yeah,
I mean, no problem with leftovers.
Yeah, I mean, but to the point was like, spaghetti leftover spaghetti is always good because I don't know why next day.
All pasta.
But he always wanted this big old pot. It's just like, I mean, it's like it's so much that you can't eat that much of spaghetti all the time.
When we were first married, and I was still cooking. I would cook because I used to cook for my grandparents too. So I would make spaghetti. So I made a big pot. I would make big pots, and we would pretty much eat it. And, my grandparents would eat that. My grandpa would eat it over a period of time, and then I would make it for me when we got married, and I had it for lunch at work.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually had a whole process when I would go into the office. We had I had ramen noodles. I actually had a nice little microwave bowl that I would cook my ramen noodles in, kept it in my desk at work. So it was ramen noodles, or then sometimes spaghetti. I put my spaghetti in my little bowl, heat it up at work, and eat it. So it was spaghetti would last me at work. I would have spaghetti for a whole week.
He's so funny. He gets engroped into certain things. He just, as he says, a little bowl. I'm quite sure he had a little bowl.
No, it was a little brown microwave bowl. See, she doesn't remember.
I remember that. I do remember now. Yeah, I remember that little brown microwave bowl you had, and he always gets engroped into certain things. He just gets really
added because somebody at the office had one, and I was like, hey, this is a nice bowl, so I went and bought me one. Well, anyway, that's enough of that. We got to get into our show. We're going to get into our first topic here, and that is brand reputation with celebrities. Now, she's going to lead on this one.
Yeah, so we were just talking about brand reputation. Basically, it's your market value. If your name is being put out there as a certain thing, it's the market value, no matter if it's bad or good. And so that means that with brand reputation, that means that you can go on any type of platform, and this is how much the value of how much value you are, and this is how much you should be able to get paid to get on these platforms. And I think we were just discussing about it, and it's about 15 minutes discussing this. Oh, great there.
Well, we can go less than 15. I mean, I always said for 15.
Right, but we were just talking about a lot of these things. I guess we're going to weave into the government overreach, but I think we were just discussing the fact that where these mayor and the thing that's going on in the DA in Fulton County, all these people who are high profile in the media right now, that's brand reputation. That means that they can say their value is worth this. And so that means that if they do go on any talk shows or any media press or anything like that, this is how much they should be worth. And this is what they were talking about, how we were just discussing, no matter what your, what do you call it? If you're as negative, how do you say negative press is not always negative press.
Right. Well, the thing is, just like example, us. So we have our podcast now. So somebody comes and says, hey, we watch your podcast. We enjoy it. We like some of the things you talk about. They can say, we'll bring you on and we're going to give you X amount of dollars. Now, for us, the first time, we'll be like, oh, okay. If they show us the numbers, we'll be like, well, you didn't have to pay. Whoa, that's some nice numbers. We'll be like, okay, so that's what they see our worth is. So, but as you grow,
right,
your worth goes up. For me, I also do tech talk. And so I know a lot about the tech world and that. So there's a value to that. So everybody has a value to their knowledge.
I mean, that's even how
the same way.
Yeah, that's how sponsor, influence, or content creators.
And we like some sponsors.
Right. That's how they respond. They basically judge based on your view count and your follower numbers.
Yeah.
And that's how much they feel that, okay, we can, because you have all these sponsors, I'm sorry, not sponsors, but all these view counts and followers, then you should be worth this much as a sponsor in that. I was watching one show on TV. I can't think of the name of it right now. However, she was trying to be an influencer. She was in a fashion. She worked for a magazine, and she was a fashion magazine itself, but she was the fashion. She was assistant, and so she was trying to up her influence. She you tag along with another influencer, she was a personal shopper or personal what do you call those people who dress people?
Fashion designer.
No, not
somebody is on my mind.
right.
Because we know somebody who that's what they do. One of the pastors, they do that. They actually are the people who make sure, we'll just say the wardrobe coordinator, the fashion coordinator.
Right.
We just use that.
So she
but
was
it's a different term.
Right. So she wanted to use another, whoever's an influencer. If she dresses her, then that means that she'll get, those followers will come to her. So that's kind of how it works. And then once she got those followers, then she was getting married. So then she wanted a beer company to sponsor her wedding. So she said, hey, if you give me these beers for free, then I will sponsor, then I will have it on my,
the banners, basically.
I'll have it on my platform. And that's how it was going. So that's how brand reputation works. And I know this was a few years ago this was happening. And I think a lot of sponsors kind of got caught wind, and they kind of don't do that as much as often as you see it anymore.
Since the Bud Light situation, which was severely overblown, we'll leave that one alone.
Well, yeah,
a lot of them sort of been with social media influencers. They've been more like trying to see who they want. If we endorse this influencer, will they offend our customer base?
Right.
And so now they're sort of being a little more cautious. It doesn't matter what side you're on, but like I said, in that situation with the Bud Light thing, sorry, folks, but that was overblown. That was not. It was bigger. It was blown up bigger than it actually was. It is what it is, but that's what a lot of brand reputation, because the celebrity can actually make a brand or break a brand. So,
I mean, that's like even with content I watch on TV now. A lot of the people sponsor, like celebrity sponsorships, and they have any contracts where if you have any negative press, then they can void your contract, and then they will have to pay the sponsor a fee for having to void the contract. So I don't know if that's kind of going on right now. Some things could just be TV or sensationalizing in television, and sometimes it could be true, but that's also another thing. So a lot of people, I mean, you can't have, not everybody is pure.
Well, that's what, thanks for giving me the name, the purity clause. That was in Disney's contracts. With the Disney,
I got a little rhinitis, so you guys got to forgive me.
With the Walt Disney, when they had all the shows to the Walt Disney program, they had that clause. So if the purity clause, I guess it's whatever it's called, there was a clause if they did something wrong in their personal life, they would lose their job, but their contract would be voided. So they had to live a certain way, so they couldn't be out here but they can do, what young celebrities, they probably did it, they just didn't get caught doing it. Paying off the press back then was not as it was easier then.
And that's the thing too, people were doing was creating ads, creating, sensationalizing something. Oh, I got a picture of your celebrity on camera talking to some girl. So happened they may have been crossing paths on the street,
right?
And somehow the angle of the camera made it seem like he was talking to this woman. And now you're talking about, I'll sell this picture to you for X amount of dollars.
And that doesn't make sense.
That's pretty much how. That's right. Like I'm watching one show now, and as a celebrity who had dinner with a she was a criminal psychologist, and he was taking classes in order to understand, in order to take a role, but they make it seem like it was something big about it, and it's like it's a simple explanation. It's like, but okay, television, of course, it's sensationalizing, but it is what it is. I mean, it's easy to just explain it. He's looking into maybe taking a role into criminal psychology, and he was needed to talk to her. and anybody could Google her and find out that's what she does. But that's kind of how it does. People want to sell you, remove negative ads. I was in, of course, guys, I'm always into Asian dramas and culture. And they have it where if they had one celebrity who got banned because his name was number one trendy for so long, and it came with both bad and good. And you were talking about fan base against another fan base. And so he had nothing to do with it, but because his name was so much in there, he got blacklisted. The country blacklisted him for X amount of years, because then he came to work as a actor or sponsors or anything like that. So he had to go somewhere else and try to work.
Yeah.
So that's what happens, and it's not necessarily their fault, but that's kind of where celebrityism is when you're talking about these type of
purity clauses, those things. Whew.
Yeah. I mean, you can't judge a person, sexual life.
I mean, that's the point. That's where
you can't do stuff like that.
And that's even in a lot of the things, because we can even talk about brand reputation not only with celebrities but with pastors. If a pastor does something, because a ministry, though a ministry, unfortunately, the pastor is the brand. It used to then be that way, but now the pastor is the brand. If the pastor is out, he's married, but he's seen out innocently, he could be meeting with a fellow sister of the ministry at a restaurant having a business meeting, but somebody can come and say, "Ooh, I saw him out with Sister Blank, and Sister Blank and him were talking, and I was just watching, and we're all in." And they can just make up something, and the pastor can be like, "I was having a meeting with Sister Blank."
I mean, we know that happens a lot where pastors are being misjudged on media and things like that, and how they're saying they're fleecing the congregation. Why the pastor has this? Why the pastor has that? Yeah. Ain't none of your business why they have it. They're here for your salvation. And I think that's the thing, though. They're thinking the humbleness of a man or or
women pastors,
whatever. But they were thinking about the fact that they shouldn't have this, that they should be giving it to, the money should all go to the poor.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you which organization they got that concept from. They believe in devout poverty, so they believe that. But I did read something was posted on X. I can't remember what it was, but people were screaming the church needs to pay taxes because the church attendance has dropped in America, and a lot of people, ironically, it's scary, but a lot of people are celebrating it, and I'm like, wow. Why are you celebrating? But that's another topic we need to talk about, because why are you celebrating attendance in church going down? And then all the comments were just nasty. This is why churches need to pay taxes. They shouldn't do this. And people are going back and say, so a church is supposed to pay taxes to cover stuff that they do to the community. The members are paying taxes already. They give money to the church. But then because we can go into the next, because there's another nonprofit organization that also is nonprofit. They're 501c3, and we're gonna go ahead. You want to jump to that topic, because I want to lead into that. Right. And this 501c3 organization does the same thing as church, because somebody said churches have become too political. However, we can also say the same thing about unions and pseudo-strikes. Mm-hmm. Unions are 501c3s. They speak in politics.
Really?
Yeah, they are. They're nonprofit organizations. Many of them are. So a lot of people don't know that. A lot of unions are nonprofit organizations. And, I mean, they're not profit. Wow. They're membership based. So
because
if I'm not mistaken, they are not. Now, if I'm wrong, you can correct me, but they are not nonprofit organizations. Wow.
And you talking about union bosses. You talking about, Hoffa and all that. They were probably cleaning it up, because everything is member based. You think these union workers are the union bosses are for the workers? Yeah, they're just for themselves, because that goes back to even with foundations. 80% of most foundations' money that comes in is for administration. So you just think about union bosses, and they're supposed to be where some of that money, that when the unions go strike, when the union workers strike, some of that money was supposed to go help with the cost of their strike.
Right.
And so I think I remember. I think I when last year one whoever was on the strike, 'cause UAW was on strike. So, but I don't know if it was the Actors Guilds or
Everybody's
or the GM. But they actually had to agree to pay extra money a week for the strike, for them to strike.
Right.
So that's, I mean, but you got to realize that, but they're like, oh, wait a minute, they don't want to, they really don't want them to strike, but they want more money in their own pockets.
Right. Because technically unions are 501c5s. C5s. They are nonprofit organizations. So
what is a 5?
Well, C3 is religious, 5 is unions and organizations. So a lot of these organizations that you hear that are advocacy groups, they're 501c3s or C5s, meaning they're nonprofits. Either way it goes, no matter which 501c they are nonprofit organizations, and they get a pass on stuff that a religious organization who's also nonprofit can't get away with. So they can endorse politicians without rebuttal. They can do everything. So it's just amazing how people try to attack the church about their nonprofit status, right. But yet your union is a nonprofit. Nonprofits mean they usually don't pay property taxes. So that's land that they don't pay taxes on. So the unions are in the same boat. You want to talk about 501Cs, they're nonprofits. They are tax-exempt organizations.
Well, that's what I'm saying about when you talk about those local 354 or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
The UAW buildings and locals buildings.
The one in Detroit is it's a building that's not paying tax.
And I think even if you rent it out for whatever events you need to rent it out for, they think that you have to pay as a rental as a union worker too. Yeah, so you have to pay. It's not like you get it for free.
Yeah, when you rent the hall, we used to use the union hall for DTE for our family gatherings back when the cousin was alive that did them. So we would always go to the building over there on Greenfield, and they were a member of that union, which was with DTE. And so they were able to get the building. It was a really nice union hall. So we used that for decades until they I guess they passed away.
So
who handled that?
So there was so let's see here. We had the UAW, the Teamsters, the Longshoremen.
Those are the most known ones out there today.
But the UAW, isn't that the most the largest?
No, the Teamsters is the largest union, which Teamsters is a huge union. Teamsters rolls in not only trucking, they're here in Michigan and Corewell Health. The nurses at Corewell Health are not officially Teamsters. They ratified and joined the Teamsters in November. Most of us, even though I'm not in the Teamsters, but most of us who are in the film industry, you're either Local 38, which is IATSE, but you're also the Teamster for driving. So there's the union. There's the Teamsters are in all industries. And they're the largest organization because they're in entertainment, health, even some education. They do some retail. They're everywhere. So when you hear like the UAW, because right now it's an argument going on between Sean Fain and the Teamster president. Basically, the Teamster president is just throwing Sean Fain under the bus, but he's not Sean Fain, whatever his name, however I'm saying his name. The UAW is not really coming back because he understands one principle. Teamsters is one who control. The Teamsters can shut down everything. They're that big. That's how much power they have.
Which you're talking about the truck. I think the trucking industry when COVID, right, the year after COVID or something. Right. That's when, they were about ready to shut everything down. And I think that goes into the pseudo-strikes where we're talking about the
longshoremen. That was a pseudo. They really didn't
go. No, longshoremen is not a pseudo-strike as I was going to say. I'm saying that I was saying like the UAW where where you had the auto plants. I think auto plants went on strike. The Actors Guild, the actors went on strike, and they're all from the UAW. And everybody.
Actors are not.
The actors are UAW.
Some of them are AFTRA.
But I think when they went on strike, they were talking about the UAW. Was it?
No, they were talking about SAG. They're SAG AFTRA because
I don't say. Well, I knew that was part of a. Okay. I'm just saying.
They're all AFL-CIO.
Right. That's the main
core organization.
But as we're saying was, those strikes did not affect the people.
No.
Okay. It was more for them.
Right.
Because no matter what, there were still cars on the lot. there were still Ford cars that we could buy on the lot. There were still GM cars that we could buy on the lot. It's just that it did not affect the people.
No.
So that's a pseudo strike to me. It's a strike that is really just so that you can get more money in your check to help pay for your advancement and your money pocketer. Now, and then actors, okay, fine. You want more, negotiate your contract in the beginning, and then you won't have to worry about the 10-cent contracts you were getting, residual contracts. But back then, it was what it was back then. Now you have the opportunity to negotiate. If they're going back to brand reputation, now you can negotiate your more contracts. But anyway, so those really did not affect us. We just kept going.
We kept moving.
Moving, and But when the longshoremen's
that one was scary.
Decided they were about ready to shut the docks down. That would affect everybody, even people over in other countries. Yeah. So you're talking about affecting everybody. You're talking about goods. You're talking about commodities. You're talking about everything. They were talking about shutting down. But yet, who were the biggest ones complaining about it? Everybody was like, oh, what about the people?
Government.
But what does that got to do? But that was the point about striking. That's what I'm saying is when you strike, that's the reason why you strike, because you know your value, and you're knowing that if I shut this thing down, everything is going to be collapsing. When the UAW talking about striking, and when they were the auto plants and the actors saying, I'm going to shut this down.
Well, the thing is,
only person who was affected was the studios.
Well, see, as people who are into the entertainment side and creating content and moving into having actors, one of the things that we tell our actors is upfront in writing, this is what you're getting. We're paying you this amount. And, if we do residuals, that will be in the contract, or be mutually agreed upon.
I mean, if you only get
if we don't have it in our contract, because we're considered we're small level film producers. So don't expect to get a $20 million contract with residuals.
Unless your name was Tom Cruise, and that's your brand reputation.
Because we know you're gonna bring the money in, so we could give you residuals. So that's how that works in entertainment. Because we're gonna have to do it eventually.
I'm not downing people trying to get their value. That's one thing, but just the fact that we're saying when it comes to strikes. You should get paid your value at the time. Right. But, you can't go back. You can't go back and say you want more money from a previous contract. You just work the contract you're working now.
You got to update what you currently have. You're trying to go back. And again, like I said, we're future. I'm have to ironically say we're probably future PGA members, which is fine, or DGA. Those are the guilds that we would pretty much.
And you notice that's what the longshoremen strike. They didn't even have time to even go out there, and so they wanted to bring in a lot of the celebrity, a lot of the leader of the longshoremen, and want to bring in his house, his cars, and what he has, but this is kind of where strikes are. This is why you strike, because you think you have to realize that you're not getting paid for all this work you want us to do. And so you strike to negotiate a better contract.
Or better.
So that's what it is.
But in the case of the Amazon one that's going on, it's for better treatment.
Sometimes you just want better treatment.
And the reason why
I work for Amazon.
Yeah, she would know. The thing is, the UAW strike that happened for the first time in history, that all the plants was a result of what happened in UPS. When the UPS driver started making more than a person working on the line, the UAW was like, hold up.
Right. And that's what they were talking about. Right. That's how it started.
Making more than we make. And that's how it just cascaded. Then that's when a lot of these delivery companies started saying, hey, we got to do raises. And they gave raises. I think the UPS driver was getting $125,000, It's huge. It's massive.
It was a lot of money for
and just to deliver packages, which is fine. Because let me tell you something about a package delivery person. We have pretty much the same UPS guy. After that he was so happy. He knows as we come say, hey, we're here. I'm here, dropping off your package. Say, hey, have a good day. You too. We just keep it. He's actually a really nice guy.
It started with, again, going back to the big C, the COVID.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize people were shopping online now. Everything was online and shopping. And so, so they were like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started. And they were like, look, we need to get a little bit more here because we can no longer work from sun up to sundown on the salary that we're getting and expect us to continue to help. No, yeah.
It couldn't even go to the bathroom.
Right. And I think Amazon workers were like
UPS and Amazon drivers could not go to the bathroom. FedEx as well. And now the situation is straight going with Amazon, which is a different. Now I'm gonna break this one down in the few moments we have. The Amazon strike that's happening in a couple states right now. People don't realize if you read the Amazon site, it's not our problem. So they're on strike, but Amazon saying they're not our employees, which is true. Amazon and FedEx, I believe I know Amazon right now. I know directly Amazon and FedEx drivers are not employed by those companies. They are subcontracting companies. So a lot of your Amazon drivers, so we see the electric EVs out there. And I've talked to our daughter's friend who worked at Amazon. She drove the EVs. She said the company that she worked for, they had to lease the EVs from Amazon. So Amazon owns those trucks. The gas-powered trucks are owned by the contractors. So that's why you'll see new contractors getting into the Amazon business. They rent a ton of U-Haul vehicles to get their business going while they're negotiating getting their vehicles. Either they're going to lease it from Amazon or purchase and get it all painted up for Amazon. So they'll drive. So it's a whole new company. So in the case of the strikes going on with the organization that's handling Amazon, it's kind of hard. To me, they're going after Amazon when they need to actually go after the actual contractor, because that's who the people work for. So you're going after Amazon striking for something where Amazon's like, these are not our employees, so why are we going to come to the table and talk to you? You need to get all the people who have the contracts with us at the table, which honestly is true. You can't. So you can't. I mean, it's kind of shady. That the Amazon did that because it's about, they don't want to have to worry about only people who work for Amazon. I don't even know if the ones who work inside the a few are Amazon employees, but they depend on a lot of subcontractors. So even from the technical side, because they figured out, why should we hire somebody? So for all we know, Amazon may have 2,000 employees, but 100,000 people who work for Amazon, but they're contractors.
Well, that's just like my sister. She used to work for a company that helped fixes the belts, if conveyor belts or things break down in the Amazon building. Amazon hires a company to do that. So it's not, you're not an Amazon worker. You are a part. You work for this company, just like temp agencies.
Yep.
You work for the temp agency. You don't work for the company itself. So that's what it is. So a lot of companies, that's the reason why a lot of companies go with contractual work, because those contractor workers have their own taxes they pay, their own people.
They handle the work,
the benefits and all that. Amazon is divest from all that.
Yep.
So they don't have to worry about paying employment taxes on those people. So that's kind of why a lot of companies go with contractual workers or temp agencies and things like that to start, because you work for the temp agency.
I think you worked for Amazon directly when you were there.
Yeah, I worked for Amazon.
So basically, the people who do distribution are the employees. They're the actual Amazon employees. So,
but it was only part-time.
Yeah. And then, see, people don't realize, as we wrap up the union thing, wow, time flew on that. The Amazon strike is sort of a pseudo strike, because I say this because Amazon has also a fleet of independent drivers. I've seen they drive their own, just like Uber, and they have their own fleet. So they literally can bring in, unless if they want to cross the picket line, but somebody's hungry and they need to eat, and they're not part of the union, that group that ratified to join the union, they can easily say, well, I'm crossing the line. I got to get these people's packages out. So Amazon's really not struggling, because they can redirect stuff to other locations and have the drivers come there and pick it up. So they really have enough facilities. It may take a little bit longer to get to you. However, they'll redirect stuff and get stuff to you.
Well, that's right. And also, at one point, one of our governors had the right to work. I think it was
it was us. We used to be a right to work state,
okay, but
and then they took it away from
right.
us.
I think it was the Republican guy.
Snyder.
Yeah.
Snyder,
Snyder brought it in, right?
And Gretchen took it out.
Right.
Whitmer took it out, and that was a bad move in a way because after that happened, we're starting to see a lot of companies that would normally come in here leave.
But one thing I noticed, one of the things which they did help with was expungements, and so that was kind of.
I'm not gonna dog them too bad.
So that was that in order because you
brothers.
If I gotta say it, but we Detroit is a predominantly Black community, and of course there's a lot of things that happen. When you're young, so
people are paying for
it, and even now, and so so you couldn't work, and people want to complain about a grown man still living with his mama because he probably had a record and he couldn't work.
He could have been selling drugs. He was probably selling drugs as a youth,
right?
And he got a case,
right?
And it's set on for the rest of his life, and that's the thing that some things that happen, and then. We need to go into forgiveness. That's one thing. Everything we need to work towards forgiveness because that's the problem we have. We want to hold people's past over them, similar to people say, "Oh, once this, always that." That's not always true. Some people do change. Some people never change.
And I think that's the reason why because that's the reason why they went to the expungement programs now, and in order for people to have the opportunity to work the way they need to work.
Right, and
which goes into the government overreach.
That was not a government
overreach. It wasn't a government overreach, but it had something to do with the governor.
In Michigan. Oh my goodness, January 1st, they just passed a law.
As of January 1st, 2025.
We have to have cage-free eggs in every single store, which is actually going to cost the consumer more money. Now, to be honest, I prefer cage-free organic. So you can still say cage free, but they're not going to be organic. So to keep costs down, the farmers are still not going to organic feed those. It's
birds. Just like they open up the kitchen, the hen coop, and let them run around.
That's all.
And they still feed them. Cage free basically means they're not locked up in a hen coop. So that means that they could roam the grounds and feed. Basically, organic means they feed it off the ground. But if you're in a contained area, then you can roam around, but yet you still force feed them whatever they need.
Whatever they need to get. It's still the same. It's not necessarily organic because I hope they don't confuse people because the cage-free organic eggs are brown. They don't convert them, they don't bleach them to white. So I'm hoping they'll turn around and say, "Oh, we're going to just flip the switch here. We're going to make them all brown." So those
maybe shouldn't really say this because right now they're probably like, "Oh, wait a minute now, they got to be organic."
Well, but I prefer. Personally, because somebody said, "Well, you like,"
right?
But my thing is, why is the government telling you what you can and cannot eat?
Right.
I'm for cage free. Don't get me wrong. However, it's the consumer who determines. Just like the government in some states said, we're getting rid of gas powered cars by in the 2030s. So no one will be allowed to buy a gas-powered car. And I believe that's California and another state. Who are you to tell the consumer what they can and cannot buy? That's government overreach in its finest. Now, the egg thing is one thing, but tell me what kind of car I have to drive, that's different.
Because I think, what was it? The reason why they were doing it was to eliminate the bird flu.
Bird flu.
That was their logic of doing it. But it was probably because this is their thought about how to contain the cost of egg production down, bringing it down. Exactly. And I was like, so I was surprised. I was wondering why when we were when I was doing some Instacart orders, and you couldn't buy eggs off of Instacart. And I'm like, why can't you? So that's when I just so happened went to the store. And I saw a sign. That's what the sign said. I'm like, oh. So I text my daughter about it. She's like, is that a bad thing? I'm like, well, no, it's not a bad thing. And I was saying, but Dad thinks it's just a government overreach. And she's like, what is that? I said, basically, ain't none of their business what we buy. But, unless I mean I could see that there is some form of FDA where they had to regulate a certain things, where it came from, where stuff comes, how things are additives and things like that. But to me, there's a difference, right? As you were saying, organic egg, cage free, and just regular cage free eggs is kind of where the thing is.
We sort of have a little breaking news, not a happy breaking news.
Oh.
Former President Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, noted humanitarian, has passed away. He was 100 years old. He has passed away today on the 29th of December. He was 100 years old.
I remember we were talking about him on his birthday, and I'm like, it was bad. And I'm like, really? Y'all just needed just to bring this man out just for his last. It was
sad, and that's sad to see that.
Right, and we won't even show the picture. I mean, he was just not. He wasn't even functioning. He wouldn't even know what was going on around him. That was kind of. But anyway, it is a sad thing. Anybody passing away, but yeah.
And this is going to be a very interesting January, to say the least. His service is going to be very interesting. Jimmy Carter, known as the Peanut Man, or was he Jelly Bean? I think Reagan was Jelly Bean. He was Peanuts. He's a farmer. He was a farmer. He was Habitat for Humanity was a group he very strongly supported. You don't know we got government overreach on there, but this is a breaking news event that just came across my phone. So yeah, the 29th of December, the 30th for me is an interesting day because that's the day 7 years ago my father passed away. So that's sort of a hit there. But yeah, Jimmy Carter has passed away. But anyway, let's go back into the government overreach. I don't know if it's on here. Is that part right next one? Oh no, like the BOI. That's a government overreach.
If you guys go back to our previous podcast, we talked about the BOI, and it's funny. My husband was talking to one of his
our director of photography for the movie,
and he didn't even know nothing about it. And so people didn't know nothing about it. And I think they banking on that because you think about it. If all these small businesses did not know about this BOI,
predominantly black,
they would have been pocketing $500, almost $600 a day for people who did not registered, or up to $10,000, including going to jail. So it's like, or going to jail because why? Because you weren't going to put your name on a list to say that you are a branded company, and so
laundering money.
And right, and the company and the agency that you're doing it is called Financial Crimes,
right?
Investigation Unit. That's the reason why I call it FinCEN. So if you know, so that's to me, that is just totally ridiculous because now you're saying that owning a business is a criminal offense.
Right.
So you have to register you as the company as a business owner. But that's not what I do anyway for my local government. That's the reason why Texas government, the Texas judge in Texas overturned it. So because he said that is totally off. That is not constitutional. You cannot do it. Now, of course, the government appealed it, and he found a court to agree with them, and they overturned the Texas governor. So now they're saying, okay, judge, excuse me. Now they're saying that you have until the 13th. First it was until the 1st to do it. Now you have until the 13th. Now again,
another court,
overturned that. So it's like
we don't know when. They say now March. But
at this point, y'all need to shut up, stop doing all this, and let it go until we figure out what y'all doing. And stop sitting there tossing and turning and debating about if I need to do it or I don't need to do it, because this is ridiculous. And it's really. It's like if you're a offender on anything, or if you're or if you're a criminal, you have to put your name in a database or whatever.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. You're putting your name in a database. Financial crimes. You don't even have to even do a crime, but you put your name in a database to say that you are a business owner and that you own this business. So if anything goes down, they know where to go to find
who
to point the finger at.
Had left. Here's the reason why they created it. They created it to help prevent money laundering.
Right.
The very business now, not every business is covered under this, but the very businesses that aren't covered under this launder money.
And that's financial institutions.
In these investment firms, they literally launder money. A criminal who, first of all, I'm just gonna be honest. Somebody who's doing illegal activities. Now, if you watch the movie Queen Pins, it's all up in there. She said we took the money and put it in investments. We didn't put the money in your business. We took the money that you received and we cleaned it through investments, meaning they went through investment firms. Mm-hmm. They structured their business in a way where it just looked like above the books. It had clean money. The money came in through a shell company. They said, well, we want to prevent shell companies.
Right.
That's not going to help because you can do a shell company investment firm.
I mean, that's the thing, and there is another reason why, but it's all political driven. Everything is political driven, yep. And you're talking. Oh, we're going after the billionaires who are.
I'm going to say it's a Trump list to get Donald Trump. Let me just say it was set up
because we know, and we know that most billionaires now. That's going back to the Amazon thing. People, I guess, Jeff Bezos went to a Christmas party in, I think it was Mar-a-Lago, and they're like, look at him. He's over here partying while he has striking workers are striking. First of all, workers. Secondly, Jeff Bezos doesn't even have hands on Amazon anymore. No. And so it's like, people are saying stuff like that, and that's only because they want to go after billionaires.
And secondly, billionaires are paper wealth. Because a person's a billion, say, oh, I'm worth this many billions. The key word is worth. What is your liquidity? Remember, when Elon went to buy Twitter, he didn't have enough liquid to purchase it. He would have to sell more than he wanted to sell. So one of the people who already was a major stockholder in Twitter said, I'm not selling. So he said, I'll go ahead and just go ahead. So technically Twitter, yes, Elon is one of the owners. There's actually two owners of Twitter. One, I think, is Saudi Arabia. He owns Twitter too. He may own like 10 or 20%, but Elon owns the majority. However, the other percentage is owned by another individual. And so he's the silent partner. So people don't even realize that X is, yes, it's his baby now, but then again, also Elon doesn't run it anymore. The woman who runs it, she takes care of business. So, people complain about billionaires. It's like, stop complaining about them, because at the end of the day, if somebody ran your net worth, say you have a good job, good roof over your good health, money, and your bank, you got money, you may be surprised how much your net worth will come up to. Somebody may say, well, your net worth is $1 million. You can say it don't feel like it. But you make the amount of money you have, your house may be worth, you may live in a house that you paid $500,000 for 4 years ago, and it could be worth more than that today. So your net worth just went up. So don't complain about millionaires, because all of us have a higher net worth than what's in our bank account. So don't get that confused. So I'm trying to get to that status too, because
all right. And I mean, I'm all for making money.
Who is it?
But stop complaining. I mean, because if everybody in the world was billionaires, then what's the purpose of employees? There would be no nothing, because somebody know you'll be making nothing.
Right. Well, anyway, let's move on.
Trying to even the playing field.
Right. We can't inclusion this. Get the same results. Now, fun time. Woohoo! Fun time. Now, there's two movies we watched three, because Carry On. People say, oh, Carry On's the next Die Hard. I'm like,
okay, challenge accepted. Let's take a look.
So, we watched it. And we turn around and watch Die Hard, I think 3. We say there's no comparison.
I mean, now Carry On was actually, it was a good movie.
It was really
good. It was because of a Netflix movie.
Netflix budget.
Movie. Now Netflix budget is not that bad.
No.
But I'm saying it was good for what it is. You're talking about Die Hard, a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
You're not getting the same thing. And the real action was I thought, okay, it was kind of cool because
car scene was
the car
best.
scene, and they instead of usually what you see it on outside,
You saw it on
the inside, and that was actually really pretty good.
That was the most
creative
part
right.
of that entire.
That was some good
movie.
direction right there.
I loved how they did that.
Right, I'm gonna have to steal that.
I would give them a 10 out of 10
Right.
on that. Just that one scene. We are seeing production techniques change,
Right.
Even in watching Bad Boys. Bad Boys had production technology where they actually did a video game style.
Right.
So we're seeing more creativity.
Right.
People are learning how, because video game creators have been doing a lot of this stuff forever. So now they're trying to apply what video game creators doing video games, because a lot of these new directors play games. So they're trying to bring in first person views. And that's what that's called, first person. So it's getting creative, and we're going to bring some of that level of creativity too, because I like first person perspectives on things. It just bring in action, you can even do it in thriller movies. Our next one, once we're doing, we can do that because it's something that is creative and it engages people, because people are not seeing the same boring shots, same cutaways, A cam, B cam, and sometimes C. So we are seeing new levels of creativity.
Well, even with Carry On, again, it was some scenes were problematic, but it never would have happened. But again, it was an entertaining movie to watch, but it was nowhere near the level of a blockbuster. You're talking about a blockbuster movie at the time for Die Hard. So, and even when Die Hard came out, during that time, the budget, even when it maxed out, it was still a lot of money during that time. It's not as what you would have gotten now, but it was still a lot of money during that time. So yeah. And of course, that's the reason why you got four other Die Hards that came out even after that.
Yeah, because Die Hard 1 was nowhere near. Die Hard 1 was so phenomenal. That movie made a lot of it brought a lot of people.
When did Die Hard? Was that 90s?
I believe so. We have Die Hard. I'm trying to get it into our library. We just have one went to the disc replay. They didn't have all the Die Hards there, so I got the one that we watched, which was basically that one was based on July 4th. But then our next
1988.
Yeah, we were 18 when it came out. Wow.
Yeah, 1988.
Now, and we then the next movie we saw, because we're gonna move on to the next one. I was looking at the time. We only got a few minutes left. Red One. That was actually a nice, entertaining movie. It was just I found it entertaining. It's a movie I will watch again, most definitely. Actually, I would watch Carry On again too. It was worth watching. Red One was just like one of those movies. I'm gonna give that one a pretty high number. It was creative. It was seeing Santa from a different. I don't care if you like Santa or not. It was talking about Santa, how Santa was trying to be a normal guy. He actually came from the North Pole for real. Went to a mall. Did his thing, but you need to see yourself. But those who don't like Santa, basically, the person who played Santa it's kind of funny because you had two Marvel actors and a DC actor in the same movie. It was just kind of weird. These actors all work, dude. They're also known as superhero movies. The gentleman played, I forgot his name, played Santa, but he looked more like the traditional St. Nicholas icon. They sort of made him look like the actual St. Nicholas, who's a real person who's known as the patron saint, the Catholics' patron saint of children, who gave gifts to children. So he had more of that look.
What they did was they
made his beard shorter.
They made it where they were dealing with the mystical world.
Yeah.
And so they did a lot of, Santa went missing. And they call him Red, though. They call him Red. They didn't call him Santa. But anyway, he went missing. And so they had to go through the mystical world to find him.
And ironically, it's a story that seemed vaguely familiar to a concept. We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one alone.
I mean, maybe people would probably look at it and say, "Oh, they try and take it out."
No,
we were going to do eventually, and technically, it is dealing with we were going to deal with the mystical world, the whole concept of dealing with mystical world.
But ours took place in a different season. It didn't take place during the holidays. So
Yes, it did.
it did. Oh, okay.
I mean, why would you have a Christmas movie that deals with Santa
maybe
and then the holiday?
Maybe we'll break out our gear and shoot it this year.
This year?
Come on, 2025.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say. I mean, everybody, I'm like,
I'm already in 2025. I'm already there. So maybe we'll do that. And in other news, our pastor, Apostle Wayne T. Jackson's movie he executive produced, Marriage Mansion, has been released on Tubi. And so check that out, Marriage Mansion. We've seen it, the preview. I think it was last year we saw the preview to Marriage Mansion. It's actually it's a good movie. I would say it's a well put together movie. Marriage Mansion 2 is going in production soon. Spoiler. So that is good to know that, hopefully it's going in production. So we have some good things happening here in Detroit. Hosanna the movie, go to I think it's on our Facebook page. I believe we did a special holiday screening. I'm not sure if it's still up. So you can go ahead and watch our movie because we're still waiting to get it on Tubi and a couple other places. Our rep is trying to get us to get things in order, so we're getting everything in order to get it on Tubi.
Me and my husband, we do. That's another one of our missions and goals, and is to do movies, and that we're still going to we are working on that. And when I was talking about union workers and actors and actresses, yes, you can't have movies without them. You can't have TV shows without them, and we're just talking about striking in general, and you should get paid your worth. But don't criticize an actress because of their whatever political background, political beliefs, or because they advocate for somebody else, and you're the main ones running to bring them down.
Right.
So, but we are all for, because we can't do movies, we can't do television without actors, actresses, directors, and all these other ones who
not
do
to mention
stuff.
my cousins are SAG-AFTRA. My second cousin,
right.
he's SAG-AFTRA.
It's just the way some of these actors. It was just some of these way these actors and actresses were stating certain things, and I saw on social, and that's where my commentaries were coming from, and some things, so
who were making all the noise, the B and C listers were trying to get work. They were more concerned because your lower level actors, they're literally living from gig to gig.
Right.
They don't have, and then some of these actors, y'all don't realize in the final moments, actors have to pay so much. So some of these actors, you got a $10 million contract. At the end of the day, after they finish paying everybody, if they bring home 10% of that.
Right. There was one chick broke it down, and maybe next time we'll talk about it again, about actors and things like that. But yeah, what you get paid and what you have to pay out of pocket, you have to pay your own expenses. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. Well, we're out of time. We'll go deeper into this. We are here. We'd like to thank you again. My name is Darnell.
I'm Angela.
And thank you for watching Garrett's House. See you next week on New Year's. It's New Year's Eve. Talk to you later. Surprise.